You can't.
Local and international news, weather, and sports. PJD2 102.7 FM simulcast on 1300 AM, and we're in the building. It's Saturday, and that means Sports Forum is on. I'm your host, Antonio Venturin, in here for the full hour with you, giving you your weekly update of all the sporting activities and some good interviews with some news in between. So stick and stay, don't go anywhere. And as usual, we start off with the shout outs. Let me just shout out all our supporters every week. As you walk on the street, so much people just meet you and thank you for the program and inform me that they're in tune. So I want to thank them for the support and thank them for tuning in. And of course, we got to thank our sponsors, KFC, who's been with us consistently for their support as well. The weekly cycling report, man. I didn't get any cycling in this week. Got my knee back out at the shop. Shout out to Coffee, Franklin Coffee. I got a knee back out of the shop, feeling much better. Feeling much better. But didn't get any cycling this morning, though. The roads were a bit wet, so I didn't take any chances. Shout out to the guys. Got a big up. Shout out to Carl. What's Carl's last name again? Carl Spakers up there at Oyster Pond, recovering from his recent fall. Got the Hot Wheel crew, Papi, Henry, Cream, and Jesus. The whole crew here. Those guys did a lot of hills this week. So they're feeling good. So they told me the man in farm is Brian. Shout out over there on the French side, Meme and the crew over there. Got to big up Super D and Super D, Moran, and Mario Batlet down there in Cold Bay. Shout out to my boy Raymond Jacobs, Mark Richardson, and my brother Marius Vaughn up there in the St. Martin's home. How you doing? I know you're locked in tune to the program. Super Dave and tune. Ricky Boyrad, of course, up there in the USA, always in tune. Julian Richards and the crew. Thanking you guys for always tuning in. So without further ado, we have a guest for you in the studios this morning, and we're going to talk with him for the full hour. Because hopefully he got a lot to say. He's gonna break it down for us, and it's none other than he's second time on the program. First time on the program, I think he was here with some guys from the USA, and it's none other than Austin Heyliger. And Austin is the founder and president of Babe Ruth Baseball, and also the former president of the St. Maarten National Baseball and Softball Federation.
Yeah. Good morning, radio listeners. Facebook. Thank you for having me, Mr. Adam Turing. But this is actually my fourth time on the program. I came first with Pelican, where I was on their board. Then I came with Babe Ruth. I came with NABA, the gentlemen from the US, and then I came when I was the past baseball, softball federation president.
That's a track record, man. I forget all myself. So you got it in the record book.
Yeah, it got so quick.
It got so quick. So let's start off. How are things with you, man? How you doing? I know you guys suffered the loss of your dad. How is the family doing?
Well, everybody's doing good. It was a rough time, but we know there's a time to come and a time to go. So actually, it actually brought us even more closer than we was before. So the communication amongst myself, my mom, and my brother Jose, it's even better. We miss my dad, but we have our mom still, so we're making sure everything is good with her.
All right. So that's happy to hear that, of course, and I'm glad to have you on the program, man. We're going to discuss a range of topics. So I think the last I mentioned is the former president of the St. Maarten Baseball and Softball Federation. Tell us a bit, how did you roll into the baseball? Because everybody know you as a musician, man. How did you roll into this baseball thing?
Well, actually, Blade brought me into baseball.
Okay.
I playing baseball from the Boys Brigade days. That's how I was inside of baseball.
You're going way back there.
And then after Boys Brigade got disassembled, I started to play with Leo Friday Boys. So which was Johnny, Jason, and Siko. Okay. So I started playing for a Colby team. Then after, when we went senior league, the Tongue fellas wasn't always behaving, so we didn't got no team. We built our own team. And I played baseball straight up to A class, and then I went to the States for college. I played a little baseball there. And then where I found the passion for baseball is when I was in St. Croix and I had the opportunity to coach their national team, a little league selection team. Okay. I really realized that I wanted to get into coaching. So I started doing certifications. I went to training in the US through Puerto Rico, and then I just fell in love with the managerial. And then when I came back here and when we started the Pelican League, he was looking for a manager. So my first time managing was actually the opportunity from Omi with Elite.
So you managed 7-2 Elite the first year. That was in 2022 or 2021?
2022 when we came champs.
Okay.
And then after Mr. DiMarlo Bega wanted to get sports, so we built athletics, and I managed that team where I was able to take some of the guys from Hammer. So I had Tio, Nisio. Basically, the Hammer team became the athletics team.
The current Dodgers team.
Current Dodgers
and the former Owls. The Sluggers, etc. Okay.
So we did that, and then after we looked at the opportunity where we felt that Pelican was doing great under their leadership. It was like, what can we do? And then my friend was actually the president of Babe Ruth in New York. And one day me and Dimad make a joke and tell you, hey, we want to start a Babe Ruth. And then I did the certifications. I was the president for Babe Ruth, St. Maarten, and I sat on Babe Ruth Caribbean and International as a marketing representative. And then we went to the Bahamas with our under-16 team, where unfortunately COVID stopped us from winning that championship. Our record was 4-2, and the day we had to play, we set it up whereas because of flights, it's very difficult to get to the Bahamas. So the agreement was if we made it to the finals, we'd play the game in the morning and catch the plane in the afternoon. So when we was taking the COVID tests, unfortunately we had 10 players with COVID.
Wow.
So we didn't have enough for our team. And honestly, I feel we was going to win. We had the momentum. We just came off from beating Puerto Rico and their top prospect at 3-0. You know, we were going to play Bahamas in the finals, and we had their number. You know, they beat us the first game 6-2, and we beat them our next game 4-1. Our losses was to the USA. They hit 4 home runs. That game was 4-0. Our next loss was to the Bahamas 6-2, and then we lost to Puerto Rico before we went finals 5-2.
Who was on that under 16 team that you took over there? You can remember those guys?
We had Tyreek.
Okay, Tyreek Lambert, Timothy Fleming,
Junior King. Coco from town.
Yeah, he's in all those guys. They're in the US now.
Choco. Riley. Boy. Yeah. I can't. I'll have to see that, but you know, I got a paper somewhere.
You got that. Listen, most of those guys, I think, except King, has transitioned already to colleges in the States. I know
and then,
Timothy left this year. Tyreek was up there the year before, and Coco is also
we had
there.
4 players from Coach Johnny, which was introduced to us from Jamal Cummings, the nephew from Frankie Myers. When he came back, Babe Ruth fell in love with St. Maarten, so felt that it was a new league and it was very financially hard at sometimes. Coach Johnny was actually opening a foundation in the US they call Open Borders, and they was helping fund the Babe Ruth. So Babe Ruth gave them the opportunity to be honorary members.
So what happened with Babe Ruth St. Maarten? So what after? Because after Bahamas, what
financially it was basically on myself and Dimad Lobega, and the funding was getting very difficult for us to be able to finance it on our own, and then we did miss the window for subsidy requests, and then a lot of the guys then went back and was playing in school teams. Some of them was getting ready to go inside of camps, so it was very difficult as well with limited fields. It was like you only have 2 fields, so it was very difficult in order to operate it, because the goal with Babe Ruth was actually to have it as an AU traveling team. Allow the kids to play in Little League, Pony League, wherever, and then we pick the best kids when it's time to travel and play with Babe Ruth.
I was just going to ask you that question, whether there was sufficient players actually to run 3 separate competitions, because we have Pony League.
So here the good thing is, where we tell everybody there's no such thing as playing too much games. Corporations.
No, not games, but players.
We basically had the same players. You had players that was in Little League, you had players that was in Pony League. You understand? The key thing what they gravitate a lot of people is Babe Ruth has the most tournaments throughout all of the organizations.
Oh yeah.
So for example, Little League, everybody, we have Little League under 12, under 13, but Babe Ruth was able to go all the way up to under 23.
Okay.
Babe Ruth had college showcases.
Okay.
So it was created by Babe Ruth family members to be able to give the kids opportunities if you want to go collegiate, high school, or straight up professional. So Babe Ruth had a lot of classic tournaments where they have a lot of scouts from different opportunities. So that is the reason we took Babe Ruth as an accomplishment, where Little League predominantly is grassroots. You know, they teach you the basic of the games as well as, you know, check your growth and potential. But the goal was to build a Babe Ruth to be able like, hey, we want the best kids from all the leagues to play in our league. So when it's time to go away, you have the strongest traveling team.
Any plans to revive Babe Ruth? The fashion's still there?
No, the key thing is, if it's anything you want to do, you predominantly should join Little League. One, they have a field, they have a great president, a great organization, and if you can find a way to say, hey, I ain't stopping you from what you're doing with Little League, but how can we incorporate what I want to do? I want to travel, like how you see 37 Niners. They play in Little League, they have foundation, they have supportive parents, so they can be able to travel. So the burden isn't on Little League if you want to do something outside of the Little League school. So if I do ever get back in baseball, it's to find a way how Little League and Pelican would have transition to be able to make that traveling team or that predominantly best national team to be able to go away.
All right. Hey, radio listeners, if you just joined us, you're in tune to Sports Forum here on PJD2 102.7. My online viewers, you can see him. You can see the man right there. It's none other than Austin Heyliger, president of Babe Ruth Baseball St. Maarten and the former president of the St. Maarten National Baseball and Softball Federation. And he's here with me for the full hour. Later down in the program, we're going to give you some updates on cricket, basketball, high school basketball, and we got the Cooch Coconut Man. That's a tournament from the Simple Sports Club Foundation. That's from Ashton Lake and Jamila Oliver and Vanessa Eusebius in the group there. The whole group, don't get upset with me, I didn't mention everyone, but that's the whole team there. And they have an international softball tournament ongoing, 40 plus, 50 plus, and 60 plus. So we're going to give you some updates on that a little later down in the program. So stick and stay, don't go anywhere, man. We got a lot of news for you here today. So Austin, now let's get back. You know, you were in Babe Ruth, you were with Pelican, and then you transitioned. After a while, you actually, I think you were did a lot of groundwork in revamping the National Federation.
Yeah. So basically, I got the opportunity to be able to be the president. I want to start off by thanking the current board for getting their full membership with WBC. It's a great
How did that start actually?
So I want to miss no names. So I think the first set of people that made us into WBC was Carlito Van Heynigen, Sidney Gibbs, and a next gentleman, I can't bring his name. I think he's an art son. So there was the persons that first got St. Maarten to be a member of WBC. I think it's Etienne Artson. He passed away, right?
Yes, he passed.
Yes, so those were the first three members. Carlito was the president. Sidney was the secretary or treasurer, and Mr. Etienne Artson. So they was the first people to get St. Maarten into WBC.
Okay, what year was that?
Don't misquote me, but I think they said it was in the early 2000s. Okay. So then we had a lot of setbacks. We had, passing. I think Mr. Carlito passed as well.
No, he's still alive. He's still alive. He was honored. As a matter of fact, he was honored, I think, by the league.
So Etienne did pass. Then Hurricane came. Mr. Van Heynigen got sick. And then it was just Sidney. Sidney was still paying the membership to be able to keep the license.
Okay.
And then it actually started when Pelican started. When Pelican started, we had a few meetings with Sidney under the presidentship of Mr. Omi Williams. And the discussion was already there from 2020 on what it is we can get to do. And then it was very difficult for Pelican as a new organization to try and take that on. So the focus was just Pelican. So
just to start the double competition.
So I like research and I love the internet. So I was able to find a lot of information. Sidney was able to give me a lot of information, and I start inquiring even before it was the presidency, how you could get it done, how Pelican could be a member or as an association. So there wasn't a federation which they would have been able to be in meetings, but they couldn't vote. Couldn't go to Congress. So then in 2025, the opportunity came when Mr. Bell at the time for the Sports Federation was like, hey, we don't want baseball to die. Omi was doing Pelican. Tamika and her team was doing SUSA or AUSA. And
softball.
Yeah, they were doing the softball. And it felt like, okay, cool, the sports are going good. Let's try and get the federation involved. At first I was skeptical because it's a non-paying job, but it requires a lot of traveling. It requires a lot of research, paying for documents, and fostering relationships. So, after a while, I was encouraged by Mr. LaBega and Mr. Coffee. The gentleman, I forget his name now, he used to be by NSI Force. He just left.
I think his what's his name? Weirdnet? No,
Cornet.
Yeah.
So after speaking with them, I decide, it's a rough challenge where we was on the borderline at that time with some back payments to be able to see how it could have gone forward. And then we had the election and was voted president. So I actually was the president for a little bit above a year. Resigning was a difficult challenge.
How do you look back on your tenure before we get to the resignation? How you look back on your tenure as the president of the federation, and what were some of the accomplishments and some of the major challenges that you faced?
The challenges is finance. Everybody in the board used to contribute financially through everything we needed to get done. Whether it was local,
but subsidy is not available.
Well, remember, starting a federation, you come from scratch. Okay. So you can't get subsidy without being able to get a board, open an account, and you miss those windows. It isn't like subsidies open all the
But the federation was an existing federation so for years, right?
It was only baseball.
Oh, it was only baseball.
So when we got in, we didn't want to leave softball behind.
Okay.
That's why it's named the St. Martin Baseball Softball Federation.
Okay, so you guys brought about that change.
Yeah. So the key thing was some countries still have them divided, and then some countries have it together. When it's divided, it's kind of difficult because you may have some plans and there's only one budget. So if you have a president that loves softball, they're pushing softball. You have a president that loves baseball, pushing baseball. Whenever you have a president, they have to push both. They both could get that nurturing that they need together. Okay. Under my time, we was able to rebrand the logo that they have now. We was able to meet with the sports department to be able to get those bills paid to start being official WBC.
Which bills?
So you pass fees. So even though
past membership fees.
Past membership fees, you have to be able to clear them to be active. So we was actually inactive. We was able to become a Kobabe member again, and then they was invited last year to participate in a tournament in the Bahamas. Those were some of the accomplishments while I was there. We actually was getting ready to start the national softball team when we had tryouts, and then we was getting ready. They did start the baseball national team and having tryouts.
I think you had started a website as well.
We was in the process. No, we started a Facebook page. We was in the process of doing a website, and then the website, we had the basic pages and everything, but personal reasons I couldn't be able to give the time needed, and I felt if you can do something full time, you shouldn't hold up the process. The wheels was moving, and the train was starting to take off. So that was a personal decision. Like, hey, if you can't continue with the energy, you need to just leave it in the hands of people who can.
So you started all that work, and then midway, just personal reason,
it couldn't function. One, my work as a marketing consultant. So when the opportunities are slow here, I may have to travel where I can be able to make income for myself. So as much as you love the sport, it's a volunteer job. So it was very difficult where opportunities was being brought to me.
Okay.
It would have taken away from the process of being that person to do the research and being able to give the answers. And, I felt it wouldn't be nice to put them in that predicament. So I just decided that I wanted to resign.
Okay. Now, your vision, because you were there for a while, your vision for baseball, softball, and the balance, for example, with the seasons, because right now softball have a very predominant long season, baseball have a short window. How as a former president, how were you guys looking at that?
It's very difficult. With one of the key things I want to say this before we dive in, every association, league that was functioning in the absence of the federation, congratulations for them for picking up the mantle. Little League being the longest baseball organization on the island, you know, Tamika and her team SUSA picking it up, Blade, and everybody who has contributed to the sport before the federation did get there. In everything we have structure, and it's difficult in anything you do to get everything moving in the right direction. I feel that we was going in the right direction. Maybe it might have been a slower process than I wanted, because the vision was, if everybody has a understand the vision, then it's a win-win vision. For example, Little League is the longest standing youth baseball development and softball.
Okay.
So to create national teams, it don't have to just be adults. You have under 8, you have under 9, you have under 11. So at the end of the day, the goal was to be able to, while I was there, to sign an MOU between Little League, Babe Ruth and Pony League on how we can work together, how we can make a season.
Okay.
The difference is, as much as the baseball is operating, you also need a good team, and we can see the softball board. They have a great team. I think the board consists of veterans. You have Marcus Livingstone, you have Mars, so you have people that have been in the sport. So the difference is, most countries, they have their balance. Like we use Puerto Rico, it's a dominated baseball world. So baseball season is longer than softball. In the Dominican Republic, but you have places where softball is a little bit longer than baseball. The key thing was to have a balanced season with both of them.
What was your proposed solution for that?
For me, I wanted to propose to start with baseball first, because most of the national, invitational, or championships for baseball is always first. Softball has been a latter part of the year. They do have early tournaments, but the goal was to start with baseball and allow all of the baseball players to be able to play in the season. The difficulty is when you come with a national team. Let's just use Theo Van Hennigan. By rights, he only could be in one national team.
Explain.
So if he's on the baseball national team, he's training regularly, whether they go to tournaments or not. But if softball is training the same, they're always going to go.
Okay.
So there was a difficult where you have great players playing both sports. So that also was a challenge to ask a guy, where you want to play? So there was a lot of challenges with limited players, limited resources. So you had, for example, let's just say 10 players that are playing baseball was trying out for your softball national team. And those small little things can conflict the growth of your national team, not being able to have all of the players needed to properly execute practice.
At the same time.
Yeah.
All right. We're at a halfway point in the program. We're going to take a break. Let me see. We're at a halfway point of the program. We usually take a break. And let me give you some updates before we go to the break. Cricket news. Let's get into some cricket news, because the Leeward Island Cricket Tournament is ongoing, and St. Maarten played at the Warner Park Stadium versus Nevis. St. Maarten went up against Nevis, and listen, I can read what is posted on the website, but to say that I understand cricket would be an overstatement. So don't send me no questions and ask me anything about it, because I could just give you the results. So hopefully the cricket, those who are knowledgeable in cricket, they understand what's going on, what went on here. So St. Maarten, the first inning, they were 103 all out, followed by an enforced after trailing by 300 runs. Nevis' first inning was 400 by 7 declared for 78.3 overs. What I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you. Yeah. Colin Archibald, you had 125. Colin Tucker, and this is for Nevis, 110. Jamie Cornelius, 61 for St. Maarten. The second inning, they went 154 all out with 42 overs. Daniel Durham, he had 42. Matthew Miller, 40. Jaden Carmichael, 4 wickets, and Anoye Amari 3 wickets. So the result of that game was, after read all of that, Nevis won by an inning and 146 runs.
Any cricketers can answer that?
I can't tell you no more, and I know I could get some slack for that. They tell me I should know all the different sports, but I think today, this weekend, Friday, so yesterday and today, St. Maarten is going up against Anguilla, and that is happening at St. Maarten, going up against Anguilla. Let me just pull it up here. So that should be happening at the Cannery Cricket Ground. I think, where's the Cannery Cricket Ground?
That's St. Kitts.
Gotta be St. Kitts. So it's 3 different locations: Warner Park and St. Paul's Sporting Complex. But Cannery Cricket Ground, St. Maarten is going up against Anguilla. So that started yesterday and it's got to finish today. So the update from that you're going to get from us next week sometime. So listen, my cricket fans here, and I know, the other program, sports program, they got Ras, who's a cricket doctor, but I know a lot of sports. I so good. How good you be with cricket?
I just know the 6 and the 4. I don't know nothing else.
Nothing else at all. So,
but it's a great sport. It's a gentleman's sport.
Hey, we got a lot of great players doing good in cricket. So we got. We got, what's his name? Kati. We got the Hamers and a whole great group of cricket players ongoing. Let's go over to some Performance Sports Academy basketball with a high school tournament. Wow, I just had him here. Performance Sports Academy, they're organizing the high school basketball tournament. Let me give you those results, because they publish some good statistics here on their website. And that in the lead right now for this week, you got MPC, the team from MPC, the high school team from MPC, Milton Peters College, undefeated with they're 5-0 right now. So MPC is dominated, followed by St. Maarten Academy Academic. So this is the high school basketball league standings, followed by Sundial School. Sundial School is 3-2. And Mac CSI, they are also 3-2, followed in 5th place. You got St. Maarten Academy Vocational Business Campus. They are 2-3. Charlotte Brookson, 2-3. And St. Dominic High is 1-4. And LU is trailing all the way in the bottom. They are 0-5. So got some work there for Coach Dimitri, man, to get that LU team back, as MPC, of course, is running. That's my old alma mater, They worked at MPC for a lot of years. Let's look at the total points. The total points scored, the top scorers with the most points scored. So Leandre Peters from the St. Maarten Academy Vocational Business Campus, he's the top scorer with 82 points scored thus far in the tournament. He is averaging 16.4 points a game. So Leandre Peters. In 2nd place, we got Amaru Hodge. Amaru Hodge, he's from St. Dominic High School. And it's strange, the schools that are at the bottom of the table, they have the top scoring players.
Yeah. It's showing that they could score.
They have the top scoring players. So Amaru Hodge, 79 points scored. So could be that they're the top players on their team, so they're scoring all the points.
Amaru's was his stepson, so he plays basketball.
Okay, 15.8 points per game, and then we got Shadiro Jones, 65 points. He's from 65 points scored, averaging 13 points per game from MPC. And then Ethan Doris May, 53 points, 10.6 points per game from, he's from the St. Maarten Academy Academic Campus. And Elijah Vincent from Learning Unlimited, he got 51 points, 10.2 points per game average. So that's good. Let's look at the rebounders and Leandre Peters is topping the rebounding table, so he's an all-around player. 62 rebounds, 12.4 rebounds per game, followed by Celcio Hodge with 57 rebounds, 11.4 rebounds per game. And I think it's Amaru, they have it, they missed the R in his name here on the website, on the Facebook page. Amaru Hodge from St. Dominic, 54 rebounds, 10.8 average per game. And then Ethan Dursmay, 47 rebounds total, 9.4 rebounds per game. Man, these guys are rebounding. In 5th place, you got Sean Farrell, 33 rebounds in total, 6.6 rebounds per game. That's a lot of rebounds, man. So great statistics there. Then let's look at steals. Total steals. You got Kiar Frutal with 18 steals, 3.6 steals per game, man. This is a highway robbery, 3.6 steals per game. Yes. Then Alexandro Blyden, 17 steals in total, 3.4 per game. And then we got Elijah Vincent, 14 steals in total, 2.8 per game. And Jaheim Dyer, 13 steals, 2.6 per game. And then a familiar face here, Jaden Baptiste. He was on the squad. That's Stanley Baptiste. 12 steals in total, 2.4 steals per game. So that is in the steals category. And block shots. Sean Farrell tops with 9 block shots in total, 1.8 per game. Amaru Hodge, he has 8 block shots, 1.6 per game. Glenford Lawrence, 0.8. How do you get 0.8 average blocks? He got 4 blocks in total, 0.8 average per game. And Jaden Tony also with 4 blocks.
You divide how much games you're playing,
and then
so basically he getting a block a game or 2 blocks. So the calculations would do 0.8.
All right. We're going to give you some more updates on let's go down and get update on the Cooch Coconut Man. You know, Cooch is the man out of Cold Bay. That's Sinclair Vanderpool deceased. And there's a tournament organized by the Simple Sports Foundation in his honor. So taking you back to Wednesday, the games on Wednesday, you had in the 50-plus category, the Lions, they just ran over the Rebels by the score of 17-2. And then the exhibition game, there was an exhibition game between the Controllers and the Bear League, no score for that. Thursday's games, you had in the 50-plus Controllers going up against Tigers. Tigers were victorious by the score of 5-0. No, the same Controllers won, or... So Controllers defeated the Tigers 5-0. Then 50-plus again, Rebels going up against Coruscant. Coruscant is the traveling team from the United States. They were defeated by the score of 5-0. And then in the 40-plus, Illegales went up against Controllers. Illegales defeated the Controllers by the score of 16-5. And Friday last evening, we had Controllers Rebel in the 60-plus, a combined team from the Controllers and Rebels going up against Coruscant, and Coruscant defeated them 13-1. Listen, if I'm saying it wrong, then you know I'm reading it wrong off the papers, but I think it's the opposite. But okay, Coruscant is the winner, I think. Then in the 50-plus, Tigers went up against the Jaspaniers, and the Jaspaniers were victorious in that game 5-0. And the final game, 40-plus. You had Controllers going up against Coruscant. Seems like everybody won 5-0. That seems logical. 5-0 seems kind of odd. But these are the results that I got here. So I work in. But Coruscant won the game over the Controllers apparently. So Jaspaniers won their game, the 50-plus. And let's see what's going on today. Today, the action is going to be moving on over to the Hossa Lake Ballpark. Starts off at 12 p.m., 60-plus, the Controller Rebels going up against the Tigers. And then after that, you got in the 50 plus, the Spaniards versus Controllers. 60 plus Tigers going up against the Curacao. That's a team from the United States. Then followed by a lot of games. Curacao versus the Lions in the 50 plus. Illegales taking on the Controllers in the 40 plus. Controllers going up against Curacao in the 40 plus. And the final game of the evening is going to be Curacao versus Illegales. And that's all at the Hossa Lake Ballpark. And the action starts off there at 12 p.m. So make sure and you could go out, all the softball fans, and next week there's another tournament, softball tournament coming up again from the Upsetters. They were here in the studios with me, Miranda, and they're gonna have a tournament as well going on. So a lot of softball action taking place, and I think after this we're gonna have you're getting ready for Frazier's fish fry tournament. That's always a big tournament as well. Another softball tournament. So in the studios with me, as you've been hearing for the past half an hour here with me, is none other than Austin Heyliger. And Austin, this week we saw that the new board became a full member of the WBCS. Now, what are some of the benefits of being part of the WBCS for the island?
They have a lot of benefits. If you want to start from educational, they can bring trainers as far to train your trainers here, your coaches, scorers as well. You can apply for grants. You could apply for fixtures on your field. You could try to host tournaments. There are camps for your excellent players. There's a lot of opportunities, but there are forms to fill it out. Is like 20 pages, so it's not a flight.
So it's not an easy process to get it done.
They're very detailed, and everything you do, you have to be able to have certified. So if you say something costs $20, it need to be approved by an accountant.
Okay.
It need to have a stamp on it. Needs to be notarized. So it's not an easy process. So when everybody's saying that you'll see a WBC tournament in China or wherever it may be, these people are preparing 4 or 5 years in advance. Some tournaments you could apply 1 year in advance, but being a member for WBC, it comes with a lot of connections, international connections, exposure, equipment distributions. There's a lot that comes with being a member of WBC. It has its benefits.
All right. Now, one of the things is that you have to, I think, and I think last time you was on a program because you were busy with the selection as well. You must participate in the tournament, right?
So the goal is, for years, they have been having the same countries. And WBC, when I was there, they took back memberships from some countries because they never participate, not even to a Congress, a Senate team. So when you get your...
Why is that? Is there any explanation for the countries who are members not participating?
It's financial, and then there's things beyond your control. Speaking to some presidents is limitations of fields.
Okay.
Is the expenses to be properly trained. So imagine to just go Colombia for a softball tournament, 25 players, coaching, the field, uniform, trainers, a medical doctor, staff, manager, a media personnel. You're looking at $70,000.
Do we have the finances to do that? Austin? And you stand in the seat. Realistically, do we have finances to do this?
No. My approach, and this is just my approach, was to look for corporate partners internationally. People who love St. Maarten, who love the sport. Either they were vacationing here. So, for example, Coach Johnny, he couldn't give cash, but he could have go through his school. He's the president of the high school association. So we could have get a lot of equipment because every year the school give away stuff. So like when we had Babe Ruth, end of the season, we got bats, we got cleats. We get bars that are used for batting practice that is basically new, So it's a very expensive stuff because here's the challenges. How are you going to tell a baseball player they can't go to this particular tournament? how are you going to tell a softball lover they can't go to this tournament? But what about the kids that start doing research, want to go to under 12? It's very difficult for any federation, any sport, to be able now, because the maximum is to participate in 5 tournaments.
Maximum of that
of the year. It's
okay.
the year. So they advise you to send 1 youth team for baseball, 1 youth team for softball, 1 teenager team, and then your adults.
The maximum or the minimum?
The minimum, sorry.
Minimum. Okay, so you must participate in at least 5 tournaments per year.
That's the rules. They bend and break because a lot of people can't do that. It's very expensive, because one of the key things is going to be is being ready all year round. We was looking at opportunities with the past board when I was there, how we could have got some donors to build a field that is just for the national team, in the sense of it, to train. That's their field. Access to batting cages, access to whatever, so the national team doesn't deprive themselves from being fully ready. With 2 fields, you could be willing, but it just isn't possible.
Now, let me get your opinion on the level of the WBCS tournament that, for example, the AA tournament. And Sint Maarten, because you've been a coach in the Pelican League that's been running baseball, coach or manager. We've been running AA baseball here for a number of years. Are we on the level to actually compete in these tournaments, or just to participate?
Yes and no. The fellows have the skill set. The coaches have the knowledge. They just don't know
to compete or to participate.
So I'm getting ready to tell you to compete, not to participate. We have young fellows that you see with them building the Tiger teams. You have your veteran players, the Nicios, the Mark Ramirez, etc., the Tios, etc. One, we don't play enough games. That's one. The guys do not play enough games to be able to be ready. That's one. They don't have enough facilities to practice enough. So to say, hey, I want to do this week just batting, I want to do running. So the players in St. Maarten, even before my time, they have raw talent. Hence the reason we was looking at, if you have a facility that is just for your national team, meaning you're under 8, you're under 10, you're under 12, you're under 16, you're under 21, you're under 23, you're adults. You're now able to say today, for example, your baseball fellas, or you have Monday. You make a schedule and you allow the men to practice at night. Softball on the other day. While baseball is not on the field, they're probably doing strength and condition. So even though maybe the idea was too big, at my time, the goal was to try and find a way to have a field that is dedicated just for the federation.
Well, now we're at the point, we're members. So that means we got to participate in these 5. We are members. We got to participate in these 5 tournaments per year. And for example, I asked the question, and the question that I asked because I wanted your opinion on that as a former president. I received reports that from the players who participated in the Pelican League, that only 5 players made the national team, and a team will be traveling, but only 5 local players are on the team. What's your opinion on if you have one?
So in the rules of the presidency of the federation, once you appoint a manager, it's his job to pick his coaching staff and his players. In the constitution of the federation, they try for you not to meddle in it, to be able to get that done. Secondly, there's a next way if you have stats. A manager now will look at all the stats for the season and be able to say, okay, cool, I'm going to invite these 50 players, then they're going to enter 40, they're going to go to 30, then they're going to make the 25-man roster, then they're going to have 5 extra players training with the team to make the team. It's at the manager's description and his coaching staff to be able to pick the players he wants for the national team. I can't comment because I don't know the logistics of what have been picked to be able, but those are the guidelines based by WBC. Hence the reason.
So there's no requirement, for example, that the players who are on the national team should have participated in the local grassroots competitions.
So it's again, it's based on the rules. So for example, agreement would have to be in place with the Federation and Pelican to be able to say, hey, I allow you to throw the season, or we're going to throw the season together. And here's the agreement with those stuff. You can't make an agreement without having an understanding from all parties. I know you need to be a Dutch person to play on the St. Maarten national team, so you're entitled to be within the kingdom. So you can take a player from Curacao to play in the St. Maarten team if the coach say, hey, for whatever reason, I need a relief pitcher, or I need a utility man, or I need somebody that's just good for speed. But this is on the manager's perspective. The presidents or the board or the federation, they don't pick the players.
Well, what is that saying about the development of the sport on the island, though?
So,
and how should, because a lot of players feel slighted based on their stats and their performance in, for example, in the recent tournament, that they should have been at least given the opportunity to
So I don't know what the process was, but we tried to do the due diligence when I was there. I can't speak for something I don't know about. But when I
I just want your take on it.
So when I was there, you saw we invited the players to be able to come. At that time, they had softball season going on. It was very difficult for some players. Some had to work, but they came. So seeing that the Pelican at that time didn't have stats, I don't know if they have stats now, it was an invitation for everybody to come. Whoever was playing baseball, that was able to play baseball, was invited. Then it's been, like I said, to break down the roster. I don't know why only 5 players are picked. I can't answer that. But the quality or level of players will never fully reach the potential if they ain't getting enough games.
No, I asked that question, and based on your background in the sport and being a former president, from the perspective of, we already have where a lot of the players, a lot of talented players are not participating, in teams. You can't get 5-6 good teams in the local competition because a lot of fellows, I ain't gonna give up my job, and I ain't gonna waste my time for this. And sometimes the traveling or being on the national team is seen as a reward.
Yeah, so,
for that, from that perspective, I'm asking the question, not that, you have any intricate knowledge of what's taking place right now.
My plan was always to try and create a farm system. I tell everybody, I was not the greatest baseball player, but I know the game. I understand the game. And I always feel once you could be able to plan 10 years from now, the goal was, for example, let's use when I was with Elite. Goal with Elite was to get in Little League. So you have a Little League Elite, a Junior League. So you're actually building a farm club
system.
And it's not that we're trying to reinvent the wheel, but that's where it is everywhere.
Each AA team, for example, would have a league team. I think,
then the key thing is how we could have gotten the business community to be more involved. With limiting games, let's just say you're playing a 10-game season and you're asking a sponsor for $8,000. He can't see the return on that. It's not enough games. It's just on a uniform. For example, in Omi case, if he put up a banner, I don't know what's the requirements, can he leave it up while Little League season going on? For example, if you have a beer sponsor, you can't have a beer sponsor while the kid's playing. So you would have to take down that banner to put it back up when your games are going on. So when you have limited fields, you still have to take into consideration the Little League is a youth field. So if you want to get a liquor company and say, hey, I want to put my banner up, don't take it down, it's very difficult at Little League. You'll now have to try and sit down with NSI to be able to see if that can be done at Jose Lake. So the field situation will always be a hamper to be able to get any team properly ready for when they want to travel, to compete or participate.
Now, based on that, I'm going to ask you this, and you could give me your opinion, or you could pass on it if you want to. I understand the corporate sponsorship part, but now, is it realistic then to ask corporate sponsors to support while so much funds goes towards traveling? Right? Because the traveling is going to take out what? What?
All your
50, 60 per time.
So,
and I mean, if we look at that over a 5-year period, 50,000-60,000 for each national team, I mean, we could buy land to build a field.
So here is where my goal was when I was there with the current board. We wanted WBC to give us some leniency, to start off with going with at least one tournament in baseball, one in softball. Every year we wanted to make that guarantee. And also wanted to be able to see if we could have been able to take one U team for baseball or softball, whether it was an under 12 or whichever one was ready. WBC was very excited and still is to have St. Maarten as a member. But here it is now, you need the powers maybe to be able to invite the president from Italy and tell him, come St. Maarten, and be able not to just send a report, but for him to be able to see, like when NABF came down, they have funding from a lot of oil tycoons. So I brought them here to see St. Maarten for themselves, to be able to tell you, hey, I want you to just take what we said. I feel when I was there that if WBC can come here and realize a third field is mandatory, here's where everything comes up. Now, could be able to sit down with, let's use Little League at the time, all of you, every Monday or every Monday and Wednesday, your best 8-year-olds, your best 10-year-olds, you're going to make a selection, and these kids are trying to participate. Now you can be able to charge $1 to come in. You have a stock bar that belongs to the federation. Now they have an adequate kitchen where they can be able to help themselves. Now the federation can cut deals with anybody, whether local or internationally, and be able to say, like, no, WBC allowing you to put branding on uniform. If I just say PJD2 for $25,000 for the year, you want all the traveling team uniforms. You only buy uniform once. So if you get 4 teams, 4 companies to give you $25,000 for the year, that's $100,000. It might be a far-fetched number, but there's different ways to break it down, and you have to be proactive. But to operate at the federation, the subsidy alone can't help you.
Okay. 2 final questions I want to get in on you before because we're coming on to the end of the program. You feel that there's with the existing federations, there was sufficient buy-in into the role of a federation or of a governing body?
At my tenure, it was difficult because, like I said, started in the program, everybody that contributed to the sport before had their own vision. And their vision was like, okay, cool, I want my club to travel, I want my organization, I want my team. So everybody had their plan for what it is they wanted to do. It's difficult now for someone to come in to try and have a collective plan. That's rough. It can't happen overnight.
Now, my last question is, you mentioned everyone who's contributed. You feel that there's sufficient recognition for, as we had arrived now that we are full members, sufficient recognition for the process and the work that was put in before to reach us, for us to attain this goal?
For me, if you have to start the process, no matter who the president is, current, past, future, it starts with Kalito Van Heneghan, Etienne Adson, and Sidonie. If they didn't take up the mantle on themselves with limited technology back in the days, I heard they was at I think it was a tournament, and somebody explained them. The knowledge was set by them. Those was the people that opened up the door. In my tenure, I was flexible enough because I like to read. I was able to find some information, and get some presidents from past countries to navigate me in the right spot. And the current board now was able to collect that stuff. But it's a process that started even before our tenureship. So in actuality, whenever the award or whoever's there, you can't forget that board with Sydney, Etienne, and Calito.
You evoke yourself.
Well, I can. At the end of the day, who knows?
Yourself.
It was a great process to be able to see now that whenever St. Maarten go to a tournament, we can get points, we can get ranking. The higher your ranking is, the more connections you can have with WBC. But I don't know much about NRPB, but I had a few conversations with Claret on being able to see how soccer has their own stuff. Once the federation is able to say this is their field, they are able to fund it, maintain it. They can decide, hey, I want teams to come rent it out like what we're doing at Jose Lake. But our players would be able to have long-standing seasons where we'll now be able to say, hey, we're playing 30 games like Puerto Rico, or we're playing 40 games like Santo Domingo, or we're playing 50 games where the seasons are running simultaneously because now you have your own field. So you don't need to have a softball season. The only difficult is how is the quality going to be if a player is playing back-to-back games,
All right. Before we close off this morning, let me give you some, I forgot to mention the RBC, and I don't want to get too off it is the RBC Little League Baseball and Softball Tournament taking place at the Erwin Baco Richardson Little League Baseball Stadium today. And of course, it's 11 o'clock on the clock here in the studios, or almost 5 past 11. So we got in the primary primary school division, you got a MAC going up against the St. Joseph Bees. So that's the MAC Methodist Aquatic Center going up against St. Joseph. That game is scheduled to start at 11:30. And ongoing right now should be Sister Borgia Catholic Squad going up against the Magda Strikers. At 1 p.m., you got a high school game where you're going to have the MPC Tigers taking on the Academy. And then at 2:30, the Lycée Strikers, so team from the northern side going up against the MPC Rangers. So that's action taking place at the Erwin Baco Richardson Little League Baseball Stadium. And
I want to give you something that I just get. To form a selection, you need to play in a national tournament. And from the results of the tournament, you will form your selection. From there, that's the requirements.
So the players that go on the selection to the WBCS must have played in a national tournament. All right. And the question is whether Pelican is recognized as a national tournament.
The only sports team can do that is the federation. Once the federation recognizes them as a subsidy body to run baseball on their behalf, then you can take the stats from them.
Listen, Austin, anything you wanted to mention that I didn't ask you, man, before we close off?
It was great for you and calling me, and like I said, it was very nice for people to reach out, and glad of the opportunity. And some people asking why I went in detail, but I feel if you're gonna do something, you have to give it your all. And with the federation to grow, it's a next job, So it's now a matter of everybody coming together to be able to maintain that goal, that St. Maarten can get points, to be able to actually host a tournament, to be able to get players going to specialty camps as well as managers. So there's a lot in store for the sport now. It's a matter of now having everyone involved to achieve those goals.
We're going to see you back with Babe Ruth, or
you never know.
In 2026?
You never know.
All right. Hey, radio listeners, that's what we had for you this morning. I'm Antonio Ventura. Of course, I want to thank you for tuning in and sticking with us. And as we say in closing every week, be happy and grateful for what you have while you work for what you want. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and take care. Join us back next week. Up next, of course, is the Master D Super Good Morning Show, followed by Caribbean Classics with Tobias Claret, Stunky and the crew, man. I think Stunky this week is Stunky on the wheels, because last week was Tobias. So stick and stay with PJD2 for the rest of the weekend, and until next week, I'm out of here. Take care.